Hi, this is April with Princess Soaps and Gifts, and today we're going to make Snow White soap. Now, I made some Snow White soap not too long ago, and it just didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted it to. Basically, what happened is I used a liquid dye for the apple on the top, and I'll show you what dye I used. I used this Crafter's Choice stained glass dye, and basically what happened was, and I didn't expect this, the red bled into the clear part. It's basically it's supposed to look like there's an apple embedded in the top of the soap, but the red bled through, so now you can't tell that it's an apple. So I'm not too happy with that, and so I'm gonna make it again. So what we're gonna have is, I've got these little apple molds. For the scent I'm using is this Brambleberry Crisp Apple Rose soap fragrance. For the red, I'm going to be using a combination of this Desert Rose Mica, which is a really dark red, and this Raspberry Mica to hopefully brighten it up a little bit. The black is Activated Charcoal from Brambleberry, and then I always use Iridescent Sparkle Glitter because you can never have too much glitter, right? It's from Crafter's Choice. For my soap base, I use this Crafter's Choice Melt and Pour soap base. This is the goat milk, and this is the clear soap base. Now, I usually don't measure out my soap, but for the video I'm trying to do so. So I don't know if the measurements are going to be right. We're just going to go for it and see what happens. So what I use a combination of these tea pitchers, I guess, that I got at Target, and then a Pyrex glass. So I'm going to go ahead and put, this is going to be my clear in here for the top. Put that in there, and I'm going to set that aside. And then I'm going to put this in here for the black. Put the goat's milk in this one. Just so happened that the last soap I made was this Snow White, so I still have the residue in here from the last time I made it. And then this is going to be the red, which I'm going to throw in here. So I'm going to pop these in the microwave for about, I usually go at 30-second intervals, and until it's nice and melted. So I have my apple fragrance here, and I use a little dropper. I'm gonna put some of that in there. Then I'm gonna measure out. Actually, I don't really measure, I just kind of eyeball it. Some of the Desert Red Mica. And some of this raspberry. It looks really pink, but it reddens up once you start mixing it in. Now to mix, I use these, they're skewers, and I totally forgot a step, but we're just gonna mix, and it's gonna be fine. Just gonna mix. Mix. mix it all in so that that mica dissolves. And I'll show you what I normally do on the next color that I do. Okay, I'm gonna throw in some sparkles because I love to sparkle everything, like I said. And we'll mix that in. Okay, now I'm going to take my apple molds here and I'm going to carefully pour in the soap. And then spritz with rubbing alcohol to pop all the bubbles. And so I'm just gonna color this soap now and scent it. So again, I'm using the Brambleberry Crisp Apple Rose scent. And just gonna use a dropper and put a couple squirts into the red and the black. I'm not going to scent the top layer because it could discolor it, make it cloudy, and I want it to be as clear as possible. Put a couple more drops there. And I am going to put a little bit in the white. This scent is fairly clear. Okay, so I already had some red in here, but I want to add some more. And the way I normally do this is I put a little rubbing alcohol in a shot glass. And then I take my mica. Add it to the shot glass. And then I take my skewer and I mix it all up in there. That to my melted soap. Pour a little bit of alcohol in there just to get as much of the color out of the shot glass as I can. And mix that up. So it's a deep, kind of a pinkish red. But once it dries, it should be a lot redder. All right, so for the black, activated charcoal to make it black. And activated charcoal is supposed to be really good for your skin. I'm not making any promises or anything, but That's what they say. So I don't mind using a good bit, and it's okay if there's a little red in there still, because the black is just gonna totally overpower it. I'm gonna use a good bit of this so that it's a nice dark black. Mix it up really good in the alcohol so it dissolves all the way. Then I'm going to pour that into here. Again, I'm going to squirt some alcohol in there to get all the black I can. Out of there. Wipe up my mess a little bit. Okay. And mix this all up so you can see it's nice and black. Nice dark black in here. Don't want it to be gray. And now I'm going to add some more sparkles because, like I said, I love glitter. Doesn't love glitter. I'm going to put it in the black, and I'm even going to put some here in the white. Can't have enough sparkles. Never have enough glitter. So I'm just gonna, well, it doesn't really show up in the white. It's okay. I'll still put it in there. Mix that up. All right, so the next step is the hardest step in my opinion. It's the wait step. To wait for this soap to cool down, because when I pour it into the mold, I don't want it to melt together. I want them to be distinct colors. And I think when I poured this one, the last batch, you see you've got some gray where the white and the black kind of melted together, and I don't want that. I want white, I want red, I want black. So let's measure our temperature. Got this on Amazon. It was real cheap. So we're at 118 degrees, 114. 121 on the white, so I want it to be really goopy and gooey when I pour it in there. So we're just gonna wait for a few minutes. Okay, so our soap has been sitting and cooling, and now it is getting a little gooey. The red's at about 100, 102, and 105. So that should be pretty good. I don't think it will melt together. So, at least I'm hoping. We'll cross our fingers. So we'll get our mold here. And first thing I'm gonna do is pour in the black. Fold changes. What? The fold has changed. I'll give that a spritz with my alcohol to take out the bubbles. And I'm gonna pour in the white. Finally, I'm going to pour in the red. And spritz. Now, we're not as close to the top as I want to be. Don't want to be totally to the top because I need to have room for my apple, but we are not quite there, so I'm going to melt down some more soap and add a little bit more here. All right, I've melted down 5 ounces more of the black in color to the black, the red, and the white. Now I'm gonna pour it in there, and hopefully that's going to be enough. So first thing I'm going to do is spritz the top of this so that the layers will stick together. Ideally, I would have had this all done together, but well. For the rest of the red in there, I want to check my height a little bit. Still have a little bit of room. Now a lot of times I'll swirl it around with my stick, but I just kind of want to see what it looks like if I don't. So I'm going to resist the urge. So I'm going to let that get good and hard, and then I will do the final layer. All right, we are back, and the soap has been sitting while my kids and I watched a movie. So the top is nice and hard there. So we're going to go ahead and pop out our little apples here. They turned out really nice. Nice red color. Like I said, even though it looked pretty pink in the when it was melted, it dries much redder. Pop all these out. I have gone ahead and melted down 10 ounces of my clear soap. I'm not going to put any scent in there because I don't want to cloud it up. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to spritz the top of this with our rubbing alcohol. This base right now is at 105. We don't want it to be too hot because we don't want to melt our apples. So what I'm going to do, oops, they're slippery suckers, is just set them right here on top. Right next to each other. So I can fit, looks like I can fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So since I can't quite get as many on there, usually I cut them an inch thick. This is about 10 inches. I'm just going to separate them out so that they're not quite touching each other. That way it gives me a little wiggle room when I cut them. Alright, now I'm going to spray the whole thing with my rubbing alcohol and pour in the clear soap base. Stick them back. Come on back now. Last time I poured a thin white layer on top before I did this, and then they kind of stuck to that. I didn't do that this time, so mental note. If you pour thin layer on the bottom, then they won't move around so much. Bubbles there. I can get those to pop. There we go. And the soap's right to the top, so now what we're going to do is let that set for a little bit, and then we'll come back a little later and we'll cut them. See what we got. Hi there, we are back, and this is my favorite part of the project, which is unmolding the soap. Well, it's nice and hard, and there's a few ways you can cut your soap. You can use a sharp knife, non-serrated, and cut it, and if you do that, then I recommend you wait at least overnight to cut your soap. But I use a wire cutter, and with this, if your soap is really hard the way Melt and Pour is, then you don't want to wait until it's super hard, because then it'll be really difficult to cut through it. So I basically, when it's, you know, nice and solid, I'll go ahead and cut it. So first thing we're gonna do is take it out of the mold. Then I take my cutter here, and it should already be measured out for the size of the last batch of Snow White soap that I made. So we're gonna see what we get. So you can see the two distinct layers where I poured it out. Not exactly what I wanted, but hey, I still think it looks really pretty, so I'm okay with it. You can see the apple clearly in the top. So all in all, that's what I was looking for. Next time when I use the correct measurements, it should come out a little bit better. So all in all, I'm very happy with how these turned out. I think next time I will make sure and use the white base. As you can see here, I used a thin white base there to put the apple on. But the top definitely looks a lot better. You can see there's an apple, and it shouldn't bleed since I did not use that that liquid dye in there, and they smell really nice. And I think for the most part they turned out really nice. I'm much happier with these than I was the last batch. So from this point I am going to let them dry, get really nice and hard before I package them up and send them away. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.